Evans' three-point shot.
It's a powering shot, baby.
Red Horse takes it to the house.
The following is a production of the Rough Rider broadcast team, a presentation of Watlington and Shires Productions. NetSN and Azalea Orthopedics brings you Northeast Texas Sports, the 2024 season. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coach Rick Meeks Show, live from the pizzeria, brought to you by Sabine State Bank. The sports year is winding down. Tonight, we look a little bit at Rough Rider soccer with special guest Coach Gerardo Martinez, and center baseball with our second special guest, Chris Moore. So we're about to sit down and talk sports over some pizza pie. It's the Rick Meeks Show. Next. Welcome, everybody, to Pizzeria, and it is the Coach Rick Meeks Show with the Counselor Stephen Shires and me, Chris Watlington. Good to be here. It's brought to you by Sabine State Bank, and thank you for joining us. It's been a while since we've been here. Hey, Coach.
How's it going?
It's going very well for me. Since the last time I saw you, I've been to an Aggie ring dunk.
Yeah.
And I saw the sun be eclipsed by the moon.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. And I watched the Masters and had a very good time. So, you know, I'm a completely different person. What about you?
The same, except for the Aggie ring dunk.
Yeah, no dunk.
I don't understand that.
I don't either. It's hard to explain.
Yeah.
But, you know, going back to the Masters, right? Going to be a Hookem. Scheffler is
Scheffler.
Big Longhorn.
Scheffler is the new Tiger Woods without being
of course,
tigery.
Of course, the big question of the week was, right? What if he's walking up, just finished 17th, going to the 18th hole for the final shot, and he gets the phone call from the wife?
He'd have finished at that point.
And by that point, he'd have finished.
No, he said he wouldn't. He said he would go.
No, he said if he'd have got the phone call before he teed off the last round, he'd go.
Oh, okay.
So once he got into the round, I think he was.
I mean, that just makes common sense.
Well, I think the wife probably said, "Hey, for $3 million and whatever else, I got it.
Yeah, I can hang on."
Mm-hmm. But it didn't happen. They did good timing and all that.
That was something. That was something. Well, Coach, April and March are just insane.
It is. It's busy.
Yes.
Today we're talking about the soccer season, looking back on it. We're looking at a baseball season we're in the middle of. But
yes, sir.
That is really two very large drops in a bucket full of stuff that you have going on. So kind of overview what else is happening and how we're doing.
Well, you have that, and we got a nice special guest here tonight in Coach G. You know, softball's rocking and rolling. They're to the final week of their season. Big game against Kilgore at home tomorrow night, senior night. We win that game. That puts us in fourth. So y'all might have to help me out on the last time softball's made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. I remember. It was. I remember.
I don't.
I did the game. I went and did a playoff game. And it was still, we were doing our first year doing video. Cool. That's when it was. So 2018 or 19.
Okay.
Yep. And it was the first time that they had been in a long time then. Yeah. So it's a rare occasion. So they're in this.
They're in it. They play Kilgore Tuesday night. The win against Spring Hill on Friday was a big win. And so we play Kilgore tomorrow night here, senior night, and win that one. That puts us in fourth.
Interesting.
So that gives us all the tiebreakers versus Spring Hill and Kilgore. We would still have one more game. We play Gilmer Friday, but if we handle business tomorrow night, then we're in good shape there. So it's rolling. Still have not got to tennis district yet. We're still a few weeks out. They're still playing in tournaments. I think they have a home JV tournament tomorrow. Varsity goes to Jacksonville Friday, but still having success. Mary Grace Whittlesey plays regional golf Wednesday and Thursday this week, so they leave out tomorrow to head to Huntsville, and so we're on the back end of it, but we're still right in the middle of it.
And track. Did you open with
Track.
that?
Yeah, the last time we were here, we were talking track.
Yeah.
Yeah. They regional track is prelims are Friday in Bullard, and then the finals are Saturday in Bullard. We have 7 boys and 5 girls that have advanced to the regional track meet, and so we'll be very well represented at the end of this week in Bullard.
In the years you've been here, both the year or two before you were the head coach and since, is 12 runners, is that about average? Is that high average or based on normal?
I think it's kind of right there in average. I think there's been some years where we've had more. Last year we probably didn't have that many. We had our relay that got out to Austin, but just in general, I don't know if we
had 12.
If we had that many. We've got Lance is sitting in a good spot in long jump. He's got the highest mark going into the regional meet.
All right.
Cash is sitting about 5th or 6th in the triple jump. And then our 4x1 and 4x2 are both sitting around 5th and 6th for the prelims. And, so they go run well, then we're kind of sitting in the same position as last year. So we're still getting gradually faster, so I feel like we're kind of peaking at the right time. I mean, it's still we're going to have to go run well. It's going to be a tall order to get out, but
We talked about Texas relays here. That's happened since then. What was that experience like?
We ran well. They were a little discouraged. We didn't make the finals in the 4x1 or the 4x2. The 4x1, 9 go to the finals. 4x1, we were 10th. 4x2, we were 12th. Both of them were out of 60 to 65 teams. So I mean, still in the grand scheme of things, you run well and you're in the top 15 of 60 to 65 teams that were there competing.
That's good.
We just didn't make the final heat, but we ran well. We have ran faster since then, so that's what I'm saying. Our kids have a lot of confidence right now.
Good.
They feel pretty good about where they're at. So, they show up and compete, and there's potential for a little bit of rain and weather, and
There always is.
So we got to put that aside. And I will say, I think that was one thing that played to our advantage last year. We had the same type situation. Didn't bother our kids. We had the 7th best time coming out of the prelims, and then we won the race on Saturday in the final. So,
wow.
And that's the thing about the relay, especially the 4x1. The 4x1 is such a all the times are so close, and just from handoffs to handoffs, you can change maybe half a second from one day to the next just based off of handoffs and those type of things. So it's the margin of error is very small.
Yeah, that's the good news and the bad news, isn't it?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Well, it is on my due list to, as a broadcaster, before I'm finished doing this, to cover a golf tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we'll do it, but I want to do that. It won't be this year, but that's exciting.
You'll be the next Vern Lundquist.
Yes, we say, can we recruit Vern to come do a hole?
Well, that's when we get to something to smile about. That's my something to smile about. It's Vern Lundquist. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to show my hand yet.
Oh, okay.
He's my hero.
Well, that's a good one.
If we're going to have a hero, that's a good one to have. Well, y'all remember, as we always try to remember, to talk about Danbert Column at the Forge. It's the gym is there, and it's 24 hours, and it kind of takes away the excuses that I've always had for why am I not in better shape? Well, I don't have that gym equipment. Danbert does. Right there on the square, open 24 hours. All you need to do is go talk to him. He'll even help you train to make yourself feel and look better. When we come back, we will talk about center soccer with Coach G right here at the pizzeria, which is filling up. We've got a former athletic director, center coach, over to your left and behind the camera, we have Dragon softball that has just come in. They're all hungry, so it's a party here at the pizzeria. We'll be right back. Jack Callan,
Yes, sir.
what's something you like about TNR Steaks and More?
Oh, everything that they make that is fried.
Okay, give me an example.
Like the fried catfish, the fried chicken, anything that has crust on it, I love.
That and a good salad. TNR Steaks and More. So what do you get with Sabine State Bank? Well, Steve Waters and his staff, they know you. They know you by name. And they celebrate the successes when they finance your dreams. But Sabine State Bank is also a fully modern bank with 24-hour online access to your accounts and services ranging from teller services to some of banking's more complicated things. Looking for a place to grow? It's Sabine State Bank.
Matthews Realty, going above and beyond is what's expected. This is agency owner Colin Matthews. Our team of seasoned real estate professionals believe in giving their clients an advantage in any real estate transaction. Matthews Realty has a reputation of highly personalized service. Matter of fact, it's our #1 priority. From commercial and residential properties, poultry farms to beach rentals, our team works hard so you don't have to.
Call Matthews Realty at 598-7800 or visit matthewsrealty.com.
Live from the pizzeria, you're watching the Coach Rick Meeks Show, brought to you by Sabine State Bank.
Everybody, welcome back to the Rick Meeks Show, brought to you by Sabine State Bank. Of course, we are here live at the pizzeria. We have the Rick Meeks Special, which is the pepperoni extra crispy, which is terrific. So just come in and order and just tell the folks, I want the Rick Meeks pizza. Right? I bet you they'll give you 50 cents off if you do that. And then I ordered something here special because I'm on a diet. And Chris Wallington. And this is did you try a piece of it? This is cauliflower base crust with vegetables, including a bunch of jalapenos. So it's really good. I had to go get a sip of drink because I had this big old jalapeno on there. But man, I recommend this for all you folks that are trying to lose a pound or two. Then we need to do it. We need to come get this thing right here because this is what they call healthy. All right. So again, we're here live from the pizzeria.
Put it on that open table.
We got Coach Meeks here directing, giving direction. So now it's time to talk about soccer. Just really one of those sports that comes in, right? So we finish up basketball, we got baseball, and we get soccer in there. God, we love doing soccer. We absolutely love doing it. And of course, we have Coach G here to wrap up the season. We had a really successful season. We were kind of disappointed at the exit of the playoffs because I was thinking, I was thinking we were going to go all the way to Georgetown. I thought we had the team that could go all the way.
Yeah.
And but it turns out, soccer, the East Texas is where the soccer is. I mean, it's unbelievable how many good soccer teams there are in East Texas, and to get out of that. I mean, the championship is almost getting out of East Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. And it was definitely disappointing for the exit, and a little bit more disappointed the way the exit occurred, to where it was kind of taken out of the hands of the kids by mistakes by the officiating. But at the end of the day, that was just a grain of salt compared to every opportunity we created, the way the kids played, the way they competed. From a coaching standpoint, I felt like I left content with the effort from the kids. It's just for some reason the ball always just sailed right or sailed
Yeah.
left, and half of the time on those opportunities, I almost raised my hands because the ball just seemed like it was about to go in.
Yes.
And we
Well-
did great combinations. It's just it never found the back of the net.
Well, at one point it was so close that the PA announcer, the scorekeeper, the guy that was running the scoreboard, had to come in our room and say, "Hey, did that go in or not?" It was so close.
Yes, and I think we had a lot of those.
Yeah, we
and,
did.
I mean, sometimes it's a little bit emotionally overwhelming for the athlete when you're knocking on the door, and it just doesn't go in, and you just from a coaching point, like you're almost helpless to that as
Yeah.
well, because that's something that it's hard to really coach through.
Yeah, and there's a couple things I'd like to talk about it, and then I want to move into the talk about when we talk about the seniors, and we talk about what we got coming back, and kind of where the program is headed. But just in that game, there were a couple things that were worth mentioning. One was, it's 1-0, and it looks like we're going to go into the half 1-0. And then disaster happens, and they get that extra goal. I mean, that's tough, right? When they got that extra goal.
Yeah, I mean, it was 30 seconds left to go into the half, and they had a foul that was called like around midfield.
Yep.
And I mean, we played it the same way we always played, and unfortunately, we put the referee in a position to where he had to make a call,
Right.
and he just didn't make the call. And I mean, it's really tough, and I know it's kind of like forbidden to even speak on the referee's decisions,
Right.
but when something is that blatant and that obvious, it's kind of hard to really just turn your head away from it,
Right.
because I mean it was there. And so when that fell, I mean when they scored that goal, even then, like the kids came to the sideline, and I mean they were still locked into like, okay,
Right.
we kind of let that one go,
But-
we slipped up on
Yeah.
that one, and
But 2-0 changes.
yeah.
It changes their tactics, right? I mean,
Yeah,
then they become more defensive at that point.
It does. Even with the 1-0, though, I mean, they did what I told my kids that they were going to do, and that was, play defensive soccer. But a 2-0, and this is something that me and Coach Meeks, I mentioned it to him a couple of weeks prior to that, or a week prior to that. It's a 2-0 in soccer is the worst score that you can have, being up, because when you score 2-0, the mentality is like almost like you're on cruise control.
Right.
And then what ends up happening is that the other team scores one goal, so now they're motivated. They score two,
Right.
or here they come.
Right.
And then they'll score that third one. And I've seen it way too many times. I've been on the good side of
Yeah, I
it,
was
and I've
fixing to
also
say.
been on the receiving side of it. So,
I think we've seen the good side of that this year.
oh
as well.
yeah, for sure. And it's something like if you ask any soccer aficionado, that holds true from
Yeah.
from the amateur all the way up to the pros.
And the second thing is, I'm curious. It seems like they had a lot of through balls, and we had several times where we had either our goalie or one of our backline players made an exceptional play.
Yes.
To keep. But was that? Because that was something that was new. Because most of the teams that we played, I mean, teams don't get a lot of effective shots on goal. It seems like Chapel Hill got more effective shots on goal than a lot of our.
They
other
did.
opponents.
I mean, it wasn't that they came in with a specific game plan because it was us. I mean, that's how they play. I remember watching them, scouting them and getting the film on them, and that's a lot of the style that they would put out there and those type of balls. And it really wasn't much different than what we saw with, what was it, two or three teams that we played. But that just shows the level of competition that is once you get out of district. And in the region that we're in, it's probably the most competitive region in as far as soccer. And really, I would feel safe to say probably every sport. East Texas is just
There's a lot of great teams.
Yes.
But especially soccer, like the number one and number two teams, and then we're right up there, and Chapel Hill's right up there. There's all these really great teams in East Texas.
Like, one of the things that we've always discussed is that, like, most teams from East Texas, especially Region 1, could go head-to-head with those regional champions from all those other regions and still probably come out on top. So, like you mentioned a while ago, the state champion 9 times out of 10 comes out of East Texas because just the level is so competitive.
Is that because there's of the youth leagues and stuff? I mean, why do you think that is?
I think the first one is just the athlete themselves. That I think that plays a big role in it. Then comes in all our proximity to Dallas as well, and how FC Dallas has put out there just they've invested quite a bit on youth soccer and all these academies. I mean, Tyler alone, there's probably 3 FC Dallas academies. Longview has another one, and then towards Houston you have more. But FC Dallas has done a bigger job of getting those academies out there, and just the kids are better prepared now, not just as athletes, but also as soccer players and skill and technique.
And I've said several times throughout the year that I felt the dribbling and the passing, this was one of the more skilled teams that we've put on the field.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Without a doubt, from top to bottom, it's I feel very confident going into any game with those 11 kids and even 2 or 3 substitutions that I want to make, and we don't lose a beat. And that is, that is something very, very special to have as a coach, because a lot of the times it's kind of hard for us as coaches, especially high school coaches, to develop a lot of kids. Because just the amount of time that we're exposed to them more than anything.
Right. All right, well, let's take a moment and talk about our seniors. So out of the 11, how many are going to be graduating?
So from the starting 11, I'm graduating 2, and those are our strikers, which is Edwin Rodriguez and Braxton Rowley. They've been my 2 starters up top for the last 2 years. So, it's going to be a tough replacement, because they both averaged 30 plus goals the last 2 years. So you're talking about the bulk of the scoring is going to be graduating, going on to the next level. And but fortunately for us, the problem that now I have is that now I have a good group of kids coming up that is going to make the job a lot difficult for me to decide who I'm going to go with. But that starting 11, I'm only losing 2, and that group that's coming back, they're very committed to the overall goal.
Oh, good.
So I'm really excited for that.
And then how many other guys are we graduated? How many total? Like
8.
8.
Yes, sir. Yeah, 8.
And how many of those guys do we anticipate are going to try to play at the next level?
Right now, 100% sure that 2 of them, which is Braxton and Edwin, we went on a college visit to Jacksonville College. And I mean, they just, I mean, the school it's a small school, but it provides them the opportunity to play college sports, and even though it is a small college, they play in a very tough and a very good conference. So the thing that drove them there is just is their playing time, more than anything.
So we're going to have a nice group of guys coming back, and it's going to. And when we start talking about who's coming back, we have to start with talking about the maestro, right? I mean, he's going to be coming back.
Yes, sir. Yeah, he's. I mean, he's the focal point right now of the overall plan for next year and moving forward, because I mean, he does a great job of managing the game, of slowing things down, moving things faster, and a lot of it is him. A lot of it is him. Like, before the game, I'm like, okay, Danny, this is what we want to do. Boom, 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 boom. But because I can't call a timeout and say, hey, let's go back to this.
Is he like a point guard?
Yeah, he would be point guard / quarterback / catcher on the baseball field. Like, he's that guy that he knows what's going on, and he picks up the flow of the game. And when you have a kid like that in the midfield, oh, my God, it makes everything a lot easier for everyone, from the goalkeeper to obviously the midfield and for strikers. And I think that was a big part of why Braxton and Edwin had the opportunities to score this year, was because of Danny and Maestro.
So we I mean, obviously when you have to replace that much scoring firepower, you got to do it. But we've got the bullets to reload.
Oh yeah, we definitely do. And what makes it a lot easier to do so is our midfield. Our midfield is very strong. That with Braxton and Edwin leaving, as long as you have a strong midfield, it's a lot easier to replace those goals and those type of players, because I think that we do have those type of players coming up.
That's right. And this is the Coach G and Shire show, because Rick Meeks decided he had something to do over there. He had to get some different pizza. But it's all right. We got it under control, don't we, Coach? But so, here's something else I noticed about it seems like some of these teams we played,
Uh-huh.
kind of midway through the second half, it really felt like we started wearing them down. I mean, and there's two things. One is the pressure that we would put on the teams.
Yes.
Starting midfield on, and how much time we spent on their side of the field.
Correct.
Part of that also has to be the physical conditioning, right?
Yeah, the majority of my kids also compete in cross country, and the ones that don't compete in cross country, they still go through the cross country workouts and prepare themselves physically to be able to hold up to our playing style, because that's something that I like, is just the high press. And then also when we do press, it's not, oh, let's go score. No, it's not about let's go score. It's about we press high, we steal the ball, we build it up, we pass it around, we move it to create an even better opportunity.
Right.
Because it's the quality of goals, not just, oh, let's go score.
Right.
Because sometimes that's almost like throwing a Hail Mary.
Yeah.
And it's kind of tough to win anything if all you do is throw Hail Marys.
Right.
So our style of play is something that really weighed heavy on a lot of teams. And one of the teams that really jumps out to me that I feel like we did an exceptional job in was when we played Kilgore at home.
Right.
And at the time, they came in ranked number 2, I think it was, in the state. Very solid. Hadn't lost the game yet. And we beat them very convincingly because of playing that style.
Right.
And creating that pressure that you just mentioned about midfield, and then playing on their side 80% of the time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's cool because, I mean, it's something that, as I've learned more about the sport, I recognize that I see what we're doing. 'Cause we're not just going, we're setting it up. And and really, I think over time it puts a psychological pressure on the other team.
Oh, it does. It definitely does. And then, like, some of those kids, they start questioning their own style and their own way of playing. And you can see it. You can see it on their faces. You can see it on whenever we miss a goal, an opportunity to score, you can see it on those other teams. You know, they'll do a body gesture or they'll do something. And then when you see that as a player, when I used to play, and not just soccer, but even like basketball and now that as a coach, I see it, and it kind of like makes me grin a little bit, because you're like, oh, okay, it's on now. And that's what you want. And I try to teach my kids that too. I was like, look, pick up on these things, and you'll know you're doing the right thing. So,
well, it's less popular to talk about these things, but there's this primordial element of athletic competition where your will dominates the other team, and whether it's football or basketball or baseball, or maybe less in baseball, but you still see that with the moving the ball around. But certainly in soccer, you see it where you just outwill the other guys.
Yeah. You demoralize the team, and that's something that I tell my guys is like, you want to dominate a game.
Yeah.
You wanna. What I say is, you want to paint a hopeless look on your opponent's face.
Right.
That no matter what whatever they throw out or whatever they decide to do, it's not working and it's not gonna work.
Right.
And I feel like when you see that as a competitor, you can't help but to, like, feel some kind of way, poke your chest out, or not anything malicious, but that's what you want.
It's a competition. Yeah.
Oh yes, sir, for sure.
All right, so we're going to wrap this segment up, and here's Larry Pierce that showed up here tonight. But we'll get him and get his thoughts here in a minute on everything.
Yes, sir.
But let's get our final thoughts on this year's soccer. My final thoughts was I really enjoyed it. We're going to try to figure out how to get out there earlier in the season and get some more of these games, because it is a joy to watch your teams play.
Yes, sir.
In victory and in defeat. And we just really enjoy it. But, Coach, what are your final thoughts on the 2024 season?
I mean, my final thoughts are that, throughout the season, ups and downs, I mean, I ended very content with the overall body of work that the kids left on the field and off the field as well. I mean, I got an opportunity to watch the kids evolve and grow into great young men and overall players. So, it just leaves me with a lot of blessings, a lot of gratitude, especially from the kids, that at the end of the day, they're the ones out there sweating and just working hard. So I'm very thankful for the kids' efforts, for sure.
All right, very good. It's always a pleasure. We look forward to next year. And thanks for joining us here this evening.
Yes,
Coach.
sir. Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, that's the Coach G wrap-up where we talk about soccer. Great season. Look forward to next year. We'll be right back.
So what do you get with Sabine State Bank? Well, Steve Waters and his staff, they know you. They know you by name. And they celebrate the successes when they finance your dreams. But Sabine State Bank is also a fully modern bank with 24-hour online access to your accounts and services ranging from teller services to some of banking's more complicated things. Looking for a place to grow? It's Sabine State Bank. Live from the pizzeria, you're watching the Coach Rick Meeks Show, brought to you by Sabine State Bank. Batters Law Firm is your first choice in personal injury law. Jeff Batters and his staff lead the way in the area with Best of Nacogdoches and Best of Lufkin votes over the last several years. If your case matters, it's got to be Batters. Granny B Snow Cone Center is your source for great summer treats. It begins with quality shaved ice, and from there you get everything from the single colored snow cone to a really creative summer treat. And besides, the counselor likes it. They're also your home for Dippin' Dots. They've been supporting the Rough Riders for a mighty long time. So pull up to the window at Granny B's and let them serve you something special.
Everybody, welcome back. This is the Rick Meeks Show brought to you by Sabine State Bank. We are live at a full pizzeria with stuff going on all around us. And so I'm going to turn this over to Chris Walton. We're going to talk a little Rough Rider baseball now.
It was about, before we do, thanks to JBI Insurance, who brings us all the events. The soccer, they were there. The before that, the football and the tennis, and they were there. And we'll be here in the middle of the baseball season as well. One of the things that I'm enjoying today, Shires, is how busy this restaurant is. When we started the show, we were the only ones here. And then, like, before we got to the first, we've got all the playing with our intros and all, the place was just full. It was all of a sudden. So that's pretty neat right here at the pizzeria. We appreciate them. And, of course, Sabine State Bank, who brings us the show every week that we do it. Coach, center baseball has been, I think, a fun story in that they're a young team and they are competing, and there'll be that one inning.
Right.
And, sometimes that one inning is the first or second, but a lot of times it's somewhere around the fourth or fifth. And hadn't won a lot, but they're performing well. Right. How many games have you seen? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think that's a very accurate assessment. I think the kids are playing hard. I think the one thing that's very encouraging is even after, just kind of the signature one inning. I mean, that's kind of the storyline of all of our games. The kids continue to play,
right,
and continue to battle and fight, and that's one thing that I've been very proud of them. Our younger kids are playing extremely hard. Logan Horton and Easton have both pitched really well so far this season. So it's been a lot of really good things, and like you said, very encouraging from the younger kids that have played, and then the future that's ahead of them. So there's been a lot of bright spots, and even with the lack of success we've had up to this point, I guess you could say in the win-loss column, we still have an opportunity to be in the playoffs.
You talked about at the beginning, at the first segment, about how the softball team has a shot. If they beat Kilgore at senior night tomorrow night,
yes, sir,
then the playoffs are likely.
Correct.
And they're still outside looking in, but they're looking in from a real close. They're right, their faces on the glass. That's kind of the way the boys are, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think girls might be in front of them.
Yeah, yeah.
They're both maybe at the same pane, but the boys are looking through
Looking
the girl.
over their shoulder. Yeah.
The boys have got to win both games this week versus Gilmer. That's a must. And then if we handle business with those two, then we can split with Carthage. And
assuming Henderson.
Assuming everything stays kind of how it's been this year, and Henderson doesn't sneak up on. I think they finished with Spring Hill.
Yep.
And who do they play this week?
Kilgore.
Okay. So they're
that's right.
the district's best.
Correct.
All right.
So, assuming that doesn't happen and we can split with Carthage, we'll beat both versus Gilmer, we would be tied with Henderson in fourth and have an opportunity to play in.
There'd be a play-in, even though they've beaten us twice. Is that not the way it works in baseball?
You know what? You might be right on that.
See, I was thinking that we were a half game ahead of them, and then when we lost that heartbreaker, we were a half game behind them.
Yeah.
And I thought if we split with Carthage and everything held to serve, we would be ahead of them. But I'm not. I had to go back and look at that. It seems like it feels like we got to beat Carthage at least once.
I do know we have to beat Carthage at least once and win both this week. And so, but that might be why with 3 rounds, you go head to head.
Right.
They beat us twice. We beat them once. So, I'd have to relook at that. But I do know. I mean,
but if we. But the thing about it is, though, that maybe would be a tie because if Carthage beats them both times, and Kilgore beats them both times, and Spring Hill beats them both times, and there's all that talk, and the same with us.
And it comes down to our head-to-head, and they beat us twice.
I know, but I think we have one more victory with Carthage. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe it would be a tie. I mean, I'm not. We need to find out. We need to get Munoz on this. He's a math guy.
That's true because if we have the same record, that means that they stole they lost a game against someone. I don't understand how it works.
I know. We just need to get Munoz. Munoz, come help us.
Yeah, we got to get Mayor up here. We got to get the Mayor up here.
Yeah.
Mayor Munoz.
Yeah. But I want to say this, though, because I texted you this at one point. This baseball team reminds me of the 1990-1991 Dallas Cowboys. I mean, we're on the cusp. Just on the cusp. I mean, we finally started hitting the ball against Spring Hill on Friday night where they weren't. I mean, Atkinson had a screamer down the third baseline that was
that's fair. Spring Hill. I mean, it was a tie game into the last inning.
Yeah, so we go in again. Easton Wolf is an unbelievable pitcher for a freshman. I mean, he could place the ball with that. He's got the big nasty hook, the curveball, but he's got a little bit of a natural movement in his ball, and he's able to put it on the inside corner where it's just unhittable. Nobody can do anything with it. When he can hit it around that corner, if the umpire is giving him that call, I mean, guys just aren't going to meet very many hits.
Yeah.
And and that's what happened to him tonight. I think he got a little winded in the sixth.
In the sixth.
And that curveball, he lost a little bit of control of it and plunked a couple of them. Mm-hmm. And then coach felt like I had to take him out.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it goes on. The way it worked out, they get 1 in the 4th. We come up to the top of the 5th. We get it back. Just like Henderson, we have a chance to drive another one across and take a 2-1 lead. Can't get that one across, and then we go to the bottom of the 6th, and then we walk one. We'll get a hit, and then a bunt play where the guy's safe and a stolen base, and then it just snowballed.
And that's the best story of the year of what we're talking about. That's not just the best team in the district. That's one of the best teams in the state.
Yeah.
And they lost, but that's not the story. If you look at the end of the game, that's not the whole thing.
That was a mighty fine pitcher that Spring Hill put on the mound.
Yeah.
Lefty with some good movement and a good. He had a very nice curveball himself. And we, Atkinson and Bellin, several other guys got big hits on him. So I mean.
And
it raises a good question about center athletics that we will pose here in our next segment. But as we close on baseball, big game tomorrow night. Baseball's got to win. Softball's got to win if playoffs is even going to be something we continue to discuss. So big center diamond games tomorrow night. Our sponsor of the night is Schaffner's Washateria. They bring the post-game show during baseball season, and it's a tradition. I don't ever remember in my life a business in that building other than a washateria.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's been a time in my life when there wasn't a washateria there.
Yeah.
It goes way back like the pizzeria does. So we will hear from Schaffner's and some other sponsors, and we'll be back with our next segment.
Schaffner Washateria, the official washateria of Count Vlad Dracula.
Yeah, that's it.
The following is a true story from Count Dracula about Schaffner's Washateria.
So I was home alone minding my own business when my wife was out of town. Suddenly, from nowhere, a minivan full of ghosts barged through the front door without opening it. They go to the bedroom and steal all my sheets and wear them around the house. Then suddenly they threw them on the floor and got back in the minivan. I have to get my sheets clean before my wife gets home. How do I do it? Schaffner's Washateria, serving vampires and Shelby Countyans for 3 generations. The Dracula family uses Schaffner's.
Schaffner's Washateria, Center, Texas.
So what do you get with Sabine State Bank? Well, Steve Waters and his staff, they know you. They know you by name. And they celebrate the successes when they finance your dreams. But Sabine State Bank is also a fully modern bank with 24-hour online access to your accounts and services ranging from teller services to some of banking's more complicated things. Looking for a place to grow? It's Sabine State Bank. Live from the pizzeria, you're watching the Coach Rick Meeks Show, brought to you by Sabine State Bank.
Bird Forestry began with Mike Bird, East Texas's lush forests, and a dream for the future. At Bird Forestry, that future is now. As it moves into its second generation, Bird Forestry is a diverse enterprise protecting the environment while it works with industries to ensure the growth of Texas businesses and the welfare of its people. The Bird family supports the riders on the course and beyond.
Welcome back, everybody, to the pizzeria. It's brought to you by Sabine State Bank. It's the Coach Rick Meeks Show. And look, we just had a cat drug Larry Pearson. Where were you earlier? You were doing a game.
Yeah, I was over in Timpson.
Texas?
Timpson, Texas, and the Joaquin and Timpson softball. Big game over there. And because all those teams in that district, number 22, they're all fighting for that position right now. And tomorrow's a big game, too. We're going to be at Beckville for Beckville and Shelbyville. That should be determine who wins that district, and depending on how it goes, it could be out after today. And Timpson won a big game today over Joaquin.
Really?
But, Joaquin, I tell you what, they had too many errors here today. That was the downfall for Joaquin today. Otherwise, it was a good game. But Timpson win at 10-3, and that pretty much gets them. Could be either the second or third spot for Timpson. There, it just depends.
District 22. Those schools in District 22 have produced the state champion in football, the state finalist in basketball. Are any of those softball or baseball teams threatening to make it a 3?
I do believe so. I mean, Shelbyville, both baseball and softball right now are playing really good. Beckville, baseball, softball. Joaquin's in there. Timpson's in there, too, on both sides.
Garrison
So,
is Garrison?
Garrison baseball is right there, too. Garrison baseball is the top dog right now.
Okay.
And so, I think that, any one of those teams could really have a good run there and go. And if you look at even District 23, 24, a little bit farther south, you got West Sabine and Chirino that's playing real hard down there, too. So, you got a lot of great teams in this area that have a chance to really do a whole lot, either in baseball or softball. I'm looking forward to the playoffs because this is getting excited right now. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm looking for.
There's going to be a game every day somewhere from East Texas, isn't there?
Yeah, tomorrow, like I said, will be Beckville and Shelbyville softball, and then on Thursday we'll be in St. Augustine for West Sabine St. Augustine baseball, and then on Friday we'll be in Joaquin for Joaquin and I know it's Mount Enterprise baseball. That's what it will be. So those teams are all playing and vying for those district spots as we're coming down to the final part of it, man.
Well, I wanted to ask Coach, this is two things. First of all, East Texas. We were talking during the soccer segment. Boy, all the soccer's in East Texas. Mm-hmm. Isn't that true pretty much in all the sports except for maybe desert trawling or something? I mean, this is we're the Heat.
Some of those West teams won that college
I
championship or the soccer championship.
I think 4A and down for sure. I think 2A, 3A, 4A. East Texas is
dominant.
It's a lot of the state champions are here, or people are going to have to go through us in the semifinals or whatever. I mean, I think 2A, 3A, 4A. It's here in East Texas. 5A and 6A. We don't have as many schools out in this area.
That's true. Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. That kind of take over.
We can't keep up with I-35 running from San Antonio to Dallas as fast as it's growing and schools growing, and so our 5A and our lone 6A are now Longview's still very competitive. I mean, they had going to have a good football season. They had a great basketball season this year. But yeah, I agree. 2A, 3A, 4A, it's coming from East Texas.
And then as far as purple goes here in center, we just spent a segment talking about the resurgence of center softball, looking better, getting better. Center baseball on the verge.
Well, I heard you say something a while ago about, having to win or whatever. So is there still a situation where either one of those teams, either one of the purple teams is going to be able to make it in there as well?
Softball plays at home tomorrow night. They beat Kilgore. That puts them in.
Oh, okay.
So they're right there. Baseball, they've got to win both this week, and then
look at next week.
And then we'll see how it goes for next week. I really thought if we split with Carthage, but Mr. Watlington made up a good point. I think even if we're tied with Henderson, they have the tiebreaker on us because they're up 2-1 on us. So,
right. Yeah.
But a good nucleus coming with that group. All the sports on the girls' side this year have just, Coach Smith and Coach Spikes and Coach Hendricks have done a phenomenal job with the framework and the vision of the athletic department. And applying that to their sports, and the girl side has really taken off, and
Yeah.
And that's what I like about the guys' team, too. Talking to Coach Moore a little bit about, they're a young group, but, I mean, if they can make a fourth playoff this year, I mean, that's a good start. And the same thing for the girls' softball squad, too. They can get there. That's a good starting spot right there.
Absolutely.
That's how you build from right there.
Correct.
So those two, if baseball and softball are emerging, what in Rough Rider land is not either already pretty good or emerging?
Well, I think from my seat, we kind of have to be careful with that, right? Because I think a lot of times, and it's kind of even when you look at literature on these things, there's a lot of things out there that influence people and talk to people about how to have success and become leaders and work your way up the mountain, but then there's not any about what to do when you get there and how to manage that.
Wow.
And so, we're having success because we're doing things within the program that haven't been done on a consistent basis, and so we see the progress. Now the point is coaches and kids cannot become lax in those things. We've got to continue to grow and understand why we're where we're at. We've been able to do it through our pillars and what we believe in and the vision that's put out there. So now we've got to continue to grow in that. So we've had a lot of really good things and a lot of success this year. But now we can't be complacent and satisfied, you know. And I know that's not what you meant, but
right,
I mean, it's
but
just
it is the danger.
It is because
look, we arrived syndrome.
That's right, and you know, I know we talk about it a lot during football season, but just culturally, the things that like with our kids and phones and kind of a look at me generation. Well, now I've had success, and I'm starting to. You know, people are congratulating me, and now I'm just going to become complacent. I don't have to work anymore, and that's furthest from the truth. So
got to keep working no matter what.
That's right.
Always got to keep working.
Now, banquets and all that, we're going to celebrate because our kids have earned every bit of that, and we need to celebrate them and praise them and talk about the things that they've accomplished, and then we got to get right back to work. Summer workouts are right around the corner, and that's the foundation of a lot of it.
Complacency being what it is.
Right.
That being said, the program from, I think, start to finish looks like it's moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Would you say? I mean, I mean,
I agree.
I think empirically we could show that.
Correct. Yes, sir. And it's, you know, it's a group of coaches that buy into the framework and my vision of what I think a successful program is, and you know, they're buying into that.
Yeah.
It starts there, and now the kids have too. So, but I mean, yes, the product is there, and our kids have done a really good job this year, and you know, the program is in a good spot, and I think it's you know, my goal, and I know we're not the only ones, but in the county, but my goal is to be the best program in Shelby County, and that's not to take away from anybody else, but that's just my personal agenda. That's I want to be the best program in Shelby County, and then once we can do that, then we can expand other places. But we've got to take care of home first, and but I think we're starting to do those things.
I agree.
Yep.
That's good news, and that's something to smile about, and that's brought to you by Wyndham Family Dental. We'll hear from them in just a moment. Before we do, Mooney's Emporium also has about 7,000 things to smile about. You just have to go to the store and look around. Mooney's Emporium brings all Rough Rider games to life through their sponsorship of Rough Rider Athletics. We'll step away, and then we'll come back for our last segment right here at the Coach Rick Meeks Show here at Pizzeria.
Live from the Pizzeria, you're watching the Coach Rick Meeks Show, brought to you by Sabine State Bank. Your Center Rough Rider winter sports schedule brought to you in part by Ace Hardware. Ace is the place in Shelby County for the helpful hardware folks. Brookshire Brothers, beginning its 103rd year as your neighborhood market. And Covington Lumber Supply. If you need it to build or repair, you find it at Covington's. So what do you get with Sabine State Bank? Well, Steve Waters and his staff, they know you. They know you by name. And they celebrate the successes when they finance your dreams. But Sabine State Bank is also a fully modern bank with 24-hour online access to your accounts and services ranging from teller services to some of banking's more complicated things. Looking for a place to grow? It's Sabine State Bank.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's the final segment of the Rick Meeks Show, live here from the Pizzeria, brought to you by Steve Waters and Sabine State Bank. I tell people all the time, go by and see Steve and get you a cup of coffee and talk about, do you need a new motorcycle? Do you need a new side-by-side? Do you need a new boat? Do you want to get a bigger house? Do you want to remodel your house, or you just want to go buy a bigger one? Steve Waters can help you out with all of that stuff. That's on Hershey right there, right by Brookshire Brothers.
So Coach, you were in high school a very good football player with a lot of awards to show for it, but you were also a golfer.
I was.
How do you what first of all, your golf?
I figured he played tennis too, because he's coached win and playoff tennis.
Yeah, he's a coaching prodigy in golf.
Yes.
But he was a
golfer.
Okay, yeah. No, okay, that's what I meant. Coaching prodigy in tennis. But you were a golfer. What some things from golf that you remember fondly when you were competing?
Well, as a freshman, I played the state tournament.
Wow.
I was at the time at Pine Tree. Dad, that was his last year at Pine Tree. He actually had already taken the job at Mount Vernon, so I finished up at Pine Tree my freshman year. I'd made the varsity golf team, and we qualified all the way to Austin. So I played a good bit growing up. Dad started me playing golf when I was 4 or 5, and I had a few opportunities actually to play college golf.
Really?
Football paid for all of my school. That was my decision in which one that I did. And I loved both of them. Still play golf a good bit, but
how many rounds a month you play?
It depends. Here coming up, I'll pay a lot.
Okay.
But I've went out to the course once since August. But now that daylight savings is hit and we're getting closer to summer, I'll get out there and play a little bit. So. But I love playing and played a little bit, I guess you could say professionally, but in my time from when I finished playing college football to before I started coaching, there was a span in there that's what I did. So
really?
Anyway.
That's a humble brag. So tell us more about this.
Something to smile about.
Well, there you go. That's something that my mouth would fall open about.
Anyway.
Larry Pierce told me about his 10 or 12 year semi-pro football career.
Right.
And I just was like, I went to college. I mean, I don't have those stories.
Well,
and you were what league did you play in? What tour was what?
I spent a summer playing poker and able to pay the rent with it. But shoot, that's nothing like being a professional golfer.
Well,
Wow.
I mean, it's just hitting the golf ball, It's not that big of a deal.
But I mean, you can make a movie about that.
Yeah.
And I was an English teacher. I guess you can make a movie about that, but no one would watch it.
What's your handicap?
Now it's on up there now, probably. I tell you what, I had a lot of fun last time. Austin Craig and those guys put on that tournament out here, that little match play tournament, and they talked me into playing, and I won my flat.
There you go.
Now they've talked me into playing. I don't know if I hadn't played. I'm like, I'm just going to be donating money. I don't know.
Head to head against Coach Dykes. Can you stay on the course with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wow.
I'll tell him.
Did you hear that, Coach? He said he could beat you.
I'll tell him. Now I probably wouldn't, because he gets out there more than I get out there right now. End of July, we might have to do it. Me and Coach Dykes have played a couple tournaments together last summer. We've played a decent amount together the last couple of years. So
I recently hit my all-time best. I shot in 9 holes. I shot 46. Mm-hmm. That's where I am, and
Perfect.
I was so proud of that 46.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the beauty
That's
of golf,
less than
though.
100.
Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The best part about golf is, and this was, growing up, I always asked Dad, why'd you start me playing? Why? He said, because, maybe one day you're pretty good or not, but it doesn't matter. You can play it the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. I'm a testament to that. I have been terrible
football.
for
You're not
a
going to be
lifetime.
able to. Right.
I have sucked my whole life.
Anyway, now
Wow.
it's when I go out there, it's a whole lot different. Now it's a way for me to just get away.
Yeah.
Decompress.
And a lot of times when I go out there, I just want to get in my cart and I just end up playing by myself.
Yeah.
It's just time to get away. But anyway, I love it. Love the game of golf.
Wow,
Played
that
it
is
my
going to be
whole
something.
life.
We're going to explore this in future episodes.
Future episodes.
I want to hear about
I do
this.
too. I do too. The Masters, Scotty Scheffler is unbelievable,
Yeah.
but it was also the last game for Vern Lundquist,
Yes.
who was the longtime one of the voices of the Masters. But he started in 1967, the year I was born, as one of the radio voices of the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize this. His last year was my senior year in high school. So when I was born to high school, he was the Cowboy announcer and loved. We listened to a lot of Cowboys on the radio. So he's more than any other reason, the reason we're doing this, why I wanted to do radio sports. Mm-hmm. I knew I was only going to have one chance, and that's to do the center job.
Right.
So Vern Lundquist got me my
Nice.
Rough Rider job, and then he went on to do the Masters, and you know everybody knows about
And lots of play-by-play football. I mean,
but-
SEC,
SEC.
game of the week
Absolutely.
for a decade.
for a long, long time. And so, you know, most people know about well, there it is. Oh my goodness! In your life, have you?
That's the most famous
That's
one,
the
yeah.
most famous one. But he also was on the call when Christian Lettner
Yeah.
hit the shot. That was Vern.
Yep.
And Johnny Manziel brings them back, and they beat Alabama. He was on the call. I mean, there's so many moments where he
Roll
was
Tide.
that guy. So that was going to be my something to smile about. And Vern, I hope you have a good
Yes.
retirement.
We know Vern is going to be tuning into this.
Yeah.
Vern Lundquist, we love you. You are a goat.
Our number one fan.
I mean, let's talk about goats on this. Keith Jackson, Vern Lundquist.
Vin Scully, Jack Buck,
Mine is what? Oh, Larry Pierce
and Larry Pierce.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good point.
my personal favorite is Brent Musburger.
Really?
I love Brent Musburger.
I like Brett. Pat Summerall, John
And
Madden
Yeah,
together.
Summerall.
Yeah.
But on radio, Vern Lundquist and Brad Sham.
Yeah.
I wish I had recordings.
Yes.
Maybe I can find those on YouTube or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, Jackie Smith dropped the ball in the end zone. Super Bowl 13. Vern Lundquist. Oh, my.
Right, yeah.
Jackie Smith, bless his heart, he's probably the sickest man in America. That's good.
Yes.
Pretty good.
He was right.
It's pretty good.
Well, there you go, y'all. Thank you very much to Sabine State Bank for bringing us this, and thanks to Pizzeria for hosting it, and thanks to you for coming
Can you
and talking.
imitate Harry Carey?
I'll have to work on it. I can't really. You just saw I can't really imitate Vern Lundquist. I'll work on my Harry Carey.
What Harry Carey used to say, I'm a Cubs fan and a Bud man.
Yeah.
And because you got to have a few
Howard
buds to be able
Cosell,
to. Yeah.
live from the Pizzeria with the legend, Rick Meeks. We'll be back next week with a hamburger pizza from the Pizzeria. Until then, don't do anything I wouldn't do.
But do it well.
But do it well.
This is a NetSN presentation.